You're recording. And then she got the right over there before.
Put off in that bolts and half of
Doug, I just wanted to point out that they did see the jury for the Dunn case. There are 8 white men, 2 black women, and
Is it recording? Tell a joke. I don't have a joke.
Alright, let's keep going as we're behind.
Am I good to go? Okay. The Humane Society estimates that about 1,900 animal cruelty cases were reported in 2012, and PETA estimates that nearly 100 million animals are abused and killed in U.S. labs every year. It's important for everyone to be informed of animal cruelty because it affects millions of animals every year. From domestic abuse to animal testing to puppy mills, animal cruelty is seen everywhere, and society needs to learn the causes of neglect and how to prevent it from expanding. I've always been an advocate against neglect and cruelty, and all my animals have been adopted from shelters. And I've also done the research necessary to provide you all with accurate facts and information on cruelty. First, I want to talk about domestic abuse. Secondly, I want to talk about animal testing and how it affects all types of animals. And thirdly, I want to talk about puppy mills and how they affect the pets that you can purchase in pet stores. Cruelty and neglect is seen everywhere, and people need to learn how to prevent it. Abuse of animals is directly related to domestic violence at home. The Humane Society estimates that 71% of pet-owning women entering women's shelters reported that their abuser had injured or killed their pet for revenge. And abusers kill, harm, or threaten children's pets to persuade them into sexual abuse or to force them to remain silent about abuse. Children and pets are commonly associated together. Americans spend more money on dog food than they do on pet food, and there are more dogs in the United States than there are people in most countries in Europe. So what does this mean? According to the Humane Society, a child in the United States is more likely to have a pet than a live-at-home father. And 64.1% of homes with children under the age of 6 have a pet, and 74.8% of homes with children over the age of 6 have a pet. To prevent further abuse, 47 states currently have felony provisions for animal cruelty. Okay. And this map right here shows the 5 best states for animals, and those are in red. And then the 5 worst states for animals are in the green. Well, it's supposed to be green, but it's kind of off-white, I guess. And so now that I've talked about domestic abuse, I will discuss animal testing and its effects on all types of animals. PETA states that nearly 100 million animals are killed or abused in U.S. labs every year. None of the experiments are illegal, and no matter how cruel or painful they are. And PETA says that 95% of animals used for experiments aren't protected under any form of law. And 92% of drugs tested on animals fail in human clinical trials because they are dangerous or don't work. According to the Humane Society, animals used in experiments are force-fed, have food and water deprivation, long periods of physical restraint, and burns and wounds inflicted to study the healing process. And one of these examples is the Dre's eye test, and they use it on rabbits, and what they do is they basically, like, kind of gross, but they clamp the rabbit's eyes open and, like, pour the shampoos or, you know, whatever kind of product they're being tested to force them, like, not to blink, so they can't, like, blink away the product that's being tested. And animals can be very poor test subjects. What's safe on them may not be safe on humans, and vice versa. So this basically kind of shows, like, well, who would you rather have die, the rat or her? But even if you test it on a rat, it might be safe on them, but it may not be safe on the human. And the 1950s sleeping pill, thalidomide, caused 10,000 babies to be born with severe deformities worldwide, and only 50% of those babies survived. And when tested on pregnant cats, mice, rats, and hamsters, they were fine, and they only got affected if it was given in high doses. So that kind of just shows you, like, how the animals aren't a very good test subject when it comes to that kind of stuff. So how can we eliminate animal testing? If we use in vitro cell studying, which is basically just like studying cells like in like a petri dish basically, it can help us come up with better results and it's cheaper. A test on one rat costs $11,500 and one test for in vitro testing costs $1,300. And in order to stop animal testing, in vitro needs to become more common to save lives and government spending. Now that I've discussed animal testing, I want to talk about puppy mills and how they affect the dogs you purchase. So how many of you have ever bought like a dog or a pet from a pet store? Anybody? Yeah, well most of those dogs come from puppy mills. And when you purchase a dog, you're most likely lied to about the dog's breeder, the health, like the family lineage and all that kind of stuff. And according to DoSomething.org, puppy mills are legal in most states, and only 26 states have laws to regulate commercial kennels. 500,000 dogs are sold yearly in pet stores, while 5 to 7 million of them enter shelters. So a puppy mill is a commercial dog breeding facility that focuses on increasing profit with little overhead costs. The health of the animal isn't a priority and the conditions are usually really poor. And according to DoSomething.org, a puppy mill will breed a female dog every time she's in heat. So basically, if a dog's 5 years old, she could give birth to 10 litters of puppies. And they spend most of their lives in cages with no room to play or exercise. The tight spaces leave animals with bleeding and swollen paws, tooth decay, ear infections, dehydration, and lesions on their eyes, which lead to blindness. The ASPCA informs us that oftentimes their food and water is contaminated with bugs, and it's important for future pet owners to seek rescue dogs as pets in order to shut down these puppy mills. So in conclusion, today I have discussed domestic abuse of animals, animal testing, and puppy mills. Animal cruelty and neglect is seen everywhere, and society needs to better understand these types of abuse in order to help prevent them. In closing, remember how domestic abuse, animal testing, and puppy mills all have devastating effects on animals in this country and how we can prevent it from expanding. Thank you.
Let's put those pictures with that